All right, thank you for joining us today. And in this video, we are going to talk about average rate of change. Let's jump right in. Now, the average rate of change is actually the average velocity, right? So if a question is being asked for average rate of change or the average velocity, we are going to use the same formula that we are going to derive from this video to calculate, right? So the average rate of change is essentially the slope of a line. That is the secant line connecting 2 points on the graph of a function. So now let's assume I have y axis, I have my x axis, right? And I have a graph. And this graph is f of x. And I have a line which connects this graph at 2 points. Let's assume the first point is when x is equal to a, and then the second point is when s is equal to b. Now, since the graph is f of x, then we can find a corresponding y value for when s is equal to a, which will give us f of a. Then we can also find a corresponding y value for when s is equal to b, which is going to give us f of what? B. Now we can see that this line here is connecting the graph at 2 points. So this line becomes the secant line. The secant line, right? So now what will be the average rate of change? Now the average rate of change is equal to, now look at this, we said that the average rate of change is the slope of a line. Now how do you calculate the slope of a line? Now a slope of a line is just the change in y over what? The change in x, right? So we actually want to calculate the slope of this secant line right here. So we need to look at the change in y and we need to look at the change in what? X. Now when s is equal to a, we have the y value for a, and then when x is equal to b, we have its corresponding also y value, which is this. So now the change in y is going to be f of b minus f of a, all divided by the change in x, which is going to be b minus a. So if you check this out, you can see that the b here is the same b here, and then the a here is the same thing here, right? So now let's look at the summary. Now when we have a line which connects a graph at a point a and b, then we are saying that that line is a secant line, right? Good. And mathematically, the average rate of change is the change in y over change in x, which is going to give us this. So what is the key things that we need to have in mind? One, the average rate of change talks about the slope of a line, or the slope of the what? The secant line. Another key thing that we need to also learn here is the formula for calculating what? The average rate of change. So in the next video, we are going to talk about instantaneous rate of change.